Welcome to the M3 Bearcast. My name is Malcolm Travers. In this episode, I speak with Kirkland of XL Tribe about fashion in large men and how some large men are stymied in their self-expression because when they go to the clothing store, they can't find the size that they need for the style that they're looking for. And he talks about starting his business, how he's had several failed businesses in the past, and why this one was different for him. How a creative entrepreneur has to fire himself when he has to delegate his tasks to others. And then we talk about the Instagram post that started our conversation in the first place. That was a video posted by someone on TikTok who had difficulty socializing in public settings. And he asked why the gay community was so rude when rejecting other people in their community. We talk a little bit about social norms, how we have our own circle of influence, and just being kind to each other. It was a very interesting conversation. I hope that you enjoy this conversation. There's also more information in the commercial breaks about how you can become a greater part of the Male Media Mind community. And now I bring you Kirkland of XL Tribe. I think we ran into each other before, so I just want to, get the lowdown on what you're doing, because I've seen your posts, like the XL Tribe, and I think I first saw you on Pinterest, and then Pinterest. So, like, when did you start XL Tribe?
September will be 5 years. Oh my god.
Good time, it just flies, huh?
No, it ain't flying. It was a struggle. I just didn't realize it's been 5 years though.
Right. Yeah. 5 years will go real quick. And yeah, it's really cool to see what you're doing. So like what was the inspiration for it? Like when you started, like, tell me a little bit about
so the inspiration started because what I was looking for was what was going to be my next thing. I've always been an entrepreneur. I've never been a successful one until now, but I've always been an entrepreneur. And I just decided that cell phone accessories was not for me anymore, because that was my last business. And I was looking for something else. And I decided that after 3 failed businesses, this one wasn't going to fail. Whatever it wasn't going to fail. And so I took time to figure it out. And in the interim of taking time to figure it out, what happened was I had been dating, and this boyfriend I had, we used to go to the mall all the time.
Okay.
And every time we went to the mall, what bothered the shit out of me was that I never saw other big guys dress well. And that bothered the shit out of me. Like, it did.
Yeah.
And so I started doing a little market research because I really wanted to know, why was this happening? So I would talk to them and I would say, hey, like where do you shop? And as soon as you open that door for a big guy, that's when the floodgates are. What? Man, I can't find nowhere to shop. I wear 3X and I can't find anywhere to wear that. So, most of the times I just end up throwing on some old t-shirt or whatever. So you kind of get to understand that the reason that a lot of big guys don't dress well, number one, is because of access to fashion. But number two, it's because of sheer will to give a fuck anymore. Because they're reaching a point where you just become satisfied in whatever you're given because you just don't have anything. So then it starts to work at your mental, because I like to tell people fashion is just an expression of how you feel on the inside. That's all fashion is, really. It's telling people, it's a visual representation of what you think of yourself and how you feel about yourself. That's all fashion is. And so really what I learned is that the world we lived in, the industry we live in, people feel not good about themselves because they don't have representation. So really, that was like the first light bulb moment. So I said, let me do a little digging. So really at this point, I really didn't want to start another business because, like I said, I already had 3 failed businesses. I didn't want a 4th one. So I started doing a bunch of market research, looking for a platform where other big and tall men existed that I could lend my hand to because I didn't want to start it myself.
Yeah.
I spent 6 months doing that, actually. Yeah, I spent 6 months doing that. And really, the 6 months I spent, I was really just trying to psych myself out of it because I didn't want to do it. So I was looking for any excuse. I was like, I really wanted to say, look, there's one person. I really wanted to do that. And I couldn't find it. Like, I literally couldn't find it. And I was like, Lord, what are you doing? Like, I don't want to start no new business. And it just kept nagging at me. And then at the time I was an Uber driver. So every time a big guy would get in my car, we would talk about fashion. And that would just fuel the fire even more. And then one day I was just like, clearly it's nagging me. It's not letting go. It's been almost 7 months. Just do it. So I made up my mind. I'm going to start a brand. Now here comes the age-old question that I always have. What to call it? Right? I know I want it to be something around big and tall fashion, but what do I want to call it?
Yeah.
And so deciding what to call it was another 1 month hindrance, which was really just me trying not to do it again. So yeah. I discovered the name. I thought of XL because at the time that's the t-shirt size I wore.
Yeah.
Not anymore. I have 2 X's now, but I was thinking, so the name XL came up, and then I thought of community, and it hit me one day, XL Tribe. And so I really took that name and I was like, okay, this is going to be the name. So I went to GoDaddy, I bought the name. Now it was another 1 month process because I'm trying to make a website and I want it to be perfect, but really I'm just dragging my foot because I don't want to do it. So basically this whole process took 8 months that it really didn't need to take because I was dragging my foot and I didn't want to do it. So one day I was just like, Kirk, it doesn't matter it doesn't matter what the fuck it looks like. Just put it out. If you saw my first blog, that shit was horrible. I mean, your 3rd grader probably does it better than I did, but I didn't care because I just wanted it out there. So that's the inception of where got my idea from, started all of that.
Yeah, no, I definitely identify with that. Whole idea of a calling is the thing that, because it's going to be hard, you don't want to do it, but it pulls on you. A calling is, something that in spite of the difficulties is worth it, and, it doesn't really matter how much time it takes, because if you are putting your heart into it, it's going to bear fruit. And that's clearly what's happened for you. So, it was really cool. Cause like when I left, I saw that you had started, I probably saw some posts here and there. And then when I came back, I just saw how much, progress you've made in the past, how many ever years it was, like 2 or 3 years that I was out. I was just like, wow, that's pretty awesome. And inspiring, really. Like, because I know how much it is to do. When I think about just some of the things that I've done in the past, like I really didn't want to do. I remember, as I was messaging you, I think the last message I sent to you was about an event I had been throwing in Atlanta. And I was like, God, I hated that so much. I really,
events are stressful and all of that. No matter what the scale, it could be 10 people. It's still stressful.
It is. And I did a few of them, it was not
Those brunches, like,
profitable. It was good though. I mean, I realized like years later, the idea of community really does matter to me as well, clearly. And it just felt the cost benefit. And I still don't know where I'm going with that. Like I know that one day I probably will do that again. It's just that I have to build the skill set to be able to do it on my own, because I thought about what you were saying when you teamed up with someone else for the first 6 or 7 months that you were doing it. Like I'd done a few of those, and at the end of the day, I feel like now is something I have to do myself. You know what I mean?
well, okay. So
Yeah.
there's a 3-step process to that, right? So
Yeah.
you start doing something with somebody, then it doesn't work, and then you feel like, oh, I need to do it by myself, right?
Yeah.
And there's one more step. You realize that you do actually need to do it with someone. You just need to do it. You just need to do it with someone once you've gained the skill of delegation and the skill of letting people do what they're best at. Because you
Right.
can't do it by yourself. No matter how much you think you can, you can't.
Right.
Like I mean, there's like I was just, I am in the space of my word of the year is elevation. That is my word of the year, right? I have it written right here, so I'll see it every day. My word
That's
is
good.
elevation. And so in order to elevate, I need a team, because there's just
Yeah.
things this one body cannot execute. I
Right.
mean, people like to say Beyonce has 24 hours in a day, but Beyonce has 24,000 people that have 24 hours each. See, that's what the
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah, that's true. That's a really good point. Is I'm really bad at that, the delegation, and like you said, letting people do the things that they're good at and not micromanaging, like not being a control freak,
Hands on,
like that
fire
part.
yourself. That's what it's called. Once you give
Say that
someone a
again?
job, you fire yourself from that job.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And that is definitely a lesson I have yet to fully learn, because I'm really afraid to go back into that mindset. But I hear you. I definitely hear you, because yeah, like you have a vision for what you want, and then like it. If I have to say, like what happened for me was, it felt like everything that I wanted just kind of got out of hand.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was a train, and I just kept like I felt like I was chasing this
Losing
train
vision.
that's on the roll, and I was like, man, fuck this train. I go over here and sit down. But no, yeah, I just I burned myself out just trying. But at the same time, it's the same idea. Like I hear exactly what you're saying. Maybe what I'm drawn to with your endeavor is what you said about fashion being an expression of self. I really do feel like the our community has this sort of not just the gay community, but the gay Black community of men of larger size,
Whew, that's not
especially.
a community. You got it. That's 3 different communities,
I
right?
know, right? But I think all 3 of those have issues with self-actualization, self-esteem, self-worth, all those, because like this month I started reading this book on it's called The Velvet Rage, and it just talks about self shame, and it's really coming from the perspective of very privileged white gays.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not including um men of our age or generation, because this book was written back in the 80s, right after HIV, um and but it's still relevant 30 years later, which is what's so amazing. And the thing that he talks about in the book is that even if you never felt any shame about your sexuality, the very fact that at some point in your life you hid it from other people,
Mm-hmm.
um psychologically we try to stay consistent. So if you hide something from people, you're by its very nature ashamed of it. You know, like you typically do not hide things from people that you're proud of. Yeah. So, but that's the thing. We don't necessarily feel or recognize all of those feelings. Like shame is
because you know why people like to tell you that's because they're private.
Yeah.
On to it. No, you're not private. You're afraid to be who you are when the light shines and the curtains open.
Yeah. And that's something that affects every gay man. And then we add on race, and then we add on fat shaming on top of that. And this is like it's a triple layer shame cake. You know?
Yep. Yep, it really is. And so that's the thing that I don't like when people have decided to be the fullest expression of themselves, and then people have the nerve to talk about them. I'm like, they had to bite through 3 layers of cake to be who they are, and you're still on the ground zero, but you want to talk? I don't.
Yeah.
Don't quite understand the dynamic of that. Like, why aren't we lifting up those voices? Because they're stronger and more powerful than the ones of us who've decided that we're gonna hide under all the 3 layers of shame. That part is the one part that I want to figure out how to break through.
That's the idea that they don't recognize the shame in themselves. You know, they see. If I have to guess, this is more just my theory, is that they see someone living their authentic self-actualizing, really feeling good about themselves as another form of vanity, maybe. You know, like they don't, because they live a life of guilt, a gilded existence where they're papering over their shame with sort of false bravado and things like that. They assume that when someone is actually expressing themselves in an authentic way, that they're just another form of inauthenticity.
You know what? I will take that wholeheartedly, because actually I just finished watching the Pose series, the season 2 or season 3. Sorry, wait, is that season 2 or season 3? Season 3.
The recent one's 3, right?
Yeah. So I just finished watching season 3. Okay, and there's a scene where they're talking about Elektra, and I too never realized how her bragging of the things she has, how it really should be looked at from the perspective of she's screaming from the mountaintops that I can do it, you can do it too. Because on the outside, it looks like she's been very braggadocious. But when you look at it deeper, you realize what she's doing is screaming for you to live your fullest life, just like I've decided to do. So You're right.
Hi, thank you for listening to the podcast thus far. And I just want to talk to you a little bit more about what M3 is all about. Male Media Mind is a grassroots organization dedicated to uplifting and unifying the Black Bear community through dialogue, insight, creativity, and knowledge. And we have 4 different live streams on our YouTube channel that get into communication, sex and relationships, spirituality, video games, nerd topics, a host of different issues. But at the center of it is always a focus on mental health and wellness. And I would like to invite you to subscribe to us on YouTube. You can also view a lot of content on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, where we're trying to build community that uplifts and represents our community in a positive way and just to have fun. I really appreciate everybody who listens and participates in our conversations online, as well as in the chats for our live stream. So by all means, feel free to join us on social media and be a part of the M3 community. All right, now back to our conversation. Yeah.
It is very true.
We don't see things as it is. We see it as we are. That's how I always said that.
Yep. Put that on a t-shirt.
I know, right? I didn't come up with that, but
we see them as we are.
Yeah, like we we definitely, we impose our own experiences on others. And so part of that, part of my mission with M3 is
That's
to.
another one you could put it on a t-shirt. You want to just keep giving quotables today?
I love t-shirts too. I love it. But yeah, no, part of my mission is to, express and share people's experiences. So that's where I'm at. Like I went to school for communications and journalism, and, within a year of working for a newspaper, I was, completely disheartened with it and thought I would never pick it up again. I just went into like doing call center work and, just surviving. But then I realized, maybe like, I guess I started back in 2013. So that's almost 8 years ago, with a 3-year break, that it was something I couldn't let go of, And I think it just started with like, it was just me and my boyfriend. We were just literally just writing articles back and forth, and then it became into video. Like, I guess, we would make videos to promote the articles, and then we realized like the videos just get way more conversation going than articles. Like, people just don't read articles. However, I do want to get back into writing, simply because some ideas require a little more time to think about,
Yeah.
And like, if I write about it first and then make a video about it, I think that'll be work. So like right now, like I'm working on, like you said, trying to delegate. I'm actually trying to do that right now, trying to get someone to make a website for me. And I am completely hands off. Like, I showed them a video of what I had in mind, and I know they have the skills to do it. So I'm just like, hands off. Yeah. Let them do what they're going to do, really. And it's,
If it feels Sunday, I look at it when it's done. I like it. And I'll go on. Yep. That's right. The way I move now, because I got, listen, when I learned this from my mentor, she says, you give someone a test and you fire yourself. That's it. Yeah. Because what you have to do as the mind of the company, the CEO, you have to focus on the high level things that only you can do and delegate every other task.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way you're going to be able to move up, is to focus on things that only you can do.
Yeah. And definitely, like, I think for myself, like letting go, like I probably was dealing with a lot of anxiety, dealing with, trying to not mind my own business, like if I delegated to someone, not only did it interrupt what they were doing, it also made me feel like shit on top of that,
Oh, every time you'd be like, oh, what are you working on? Yeah, you're stopping what you're doing.
Yep. And I'm feeling anxious about it too. Like, if I could just let it go and focus on what I've got to do. Yeah. And I like having patience with myself and, feeling, like, I don't know, trusting in myself, I guess. That's another thing I just have to work on. But yeah, all of that, I think also going back to basics, like after coming back, like I said, really focusing in on conversations that build people up. Kind of exactly what you were saying about how fashion is an expression of self. Like, I see it in terms of like conversations, talking to people, like having conversations about relationships, about spirituality, about mental health, families, work, like every sort of aspect of life. How we interact with each other, starts with yourself, and once you have gotten a certain self-worth, a certain self-esteem, building up the skills necessary to relate with other broken people, really. Like, that's at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Like, and not trying to fix people. That's the other thing, is like, you see the brokenness in others and you realize like it's not your business. Like, it's not your job to fix people, but you still have to deal with them. It's your responsibility. Now, this is one I definitely.
Well, part of being me thinking of myself as a brother's keeper, I think that it is my goal. I feel like it's my responsibility to give broken people the tools to fix themselves. Because
Yes.
I feel like as a former broken person, that's what I needed.
Yeah.
I needed the tools. I needed someone to say, here's the hammer, here's 5 nails, here's the board, go make a deck.
Yeah.
And then let me make the deck on my own. Whether I fail or I did it well or I didn't was up to me, but at least I had the tools to do so.
Yes. Yeah. And one of the things I've heard was like another. I guess I'm a quote factory, but one of them I heard was you're not so responsible for other people, but you're responsible to them.
Yep.
And that is to say that you can't do it for them, but you can give them the skills, like you said, the tools for them to do it themselves. And that is your responsibility to them, but you're not responsible for what they do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you gotta let people make bad decisions. And, you know, like, because the way we learn, the way we grow, how we get good judgment is through making mistakes.
Yep. Yep.
So like that's part of, you can't shield people from their mistakes. So I remember it was in the comments. So when I saw you comment on one of the posts, do you remember which post it was on Instagram that we were talking about? I'm gonna take a look.
I do, because as soon as you say it, I'm gonna remember it.
Well, there were a few. This was interesting. So part of the reason why these posts came up, I was trying to find a growth strategy, you know, like
oh, you found it.
Gay men treat each other in public settings. More so shy gay men like myself who finally build up that courage to approach people, and then I get that weird treatment as if there's something wrong with me when I do. I use the apps. I talk to guys online, but there is nothing like trying to meet somebody organically in a public setting. When I do try to approach guys, they give me the weird side eye or completely ignore me or speed up and like move so much faster than they were originally walking. And that hurts my feelings. It kind of prevents me from future trying to approach people because that trauma always triggers of like, how's a guy going to react or not react when I finally am like, all right, get off your shy horse and like, you know, actually say something. Can we talk about this? Like, does anyone else feel this way? Have you?
right.
Now, who said this to who? Catch me.
This was a TikTok video, and I shared it and made a comment on it.
I mean, but no, seriously. I mean, like that sounds like a total personal issue. Like, I'm sorry that you're shy and that you don't get the response from men when you pose some type of proposal. Sounds like a personal issue. Cry me a motherfucking river. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, bro, it don't work like that. If your advances are being rebuffed, try and try again. This is not.
But I think what he was saying is like he is.
Oh, I'm ready.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, continue.
No, I was going to say, I think he's literally traumatized from some of these experiences that he's had.
Well, he needs to get a therapist, and I understand his point of view, but like life is not that way. Like, I'm sorry that he is, you know, and my heart goes out to him. I will not take back what I said, but you need to see a therapist, A, and B, if the in person is not working for you, there are several different avenues, my friend. Try another one. You know,
I think that's the point of the video, is to reach out and to come up with some strategies for changing his behavior. Because clearly, so what were you thinking, Kirk?
Well, I completely disagree with everything that just came out your fucking mouth. You know why?
Language, sir. Go ahead.
You know why? Because I think it's important Actually, I don't disagree with everything. It's not the other person's. You can't expect people to respond to you the way that you want them to respond to you. You don't have any control over that part. But I feel like it's important as a community. Gay people are so fucking rude. And I think that was the point of his statement. Like, we are rude motherfuckers, and I don't know why. Why are we so rude to each other? Like, you can, like, somebody steps to you, and then you pretend like you don't see them and walk fast the other way. Like, what kind of shit is that?
That is terribly unfortunate, and I would never see myself and to do that to anyone with 2 legs and 2 arms. That is just horrible.
So let's form the framework around this, because this is actually what I'm thinking about. What if we develop the society where people need less therapy because they aren't traumatized as much by the bullshit we do to them?
We're black males. That's not gonna happen. Too late.
And
too late.
Every time a baby's born, we have a chance to do it over again. So it's never too late.
But there is trauma institutionalized in our race. Just black male babies, and we do have an opportunity, but we have to get society on board, and in our lifetimes that's not going to happen. So then we have to move on to the systemic part of it all. Then we have to move on to, like we're doing now, we have to discuss the reasons why. To be born male, black, and gay is stripes that are sometimes insurmountable to people. Then you have the family woes and the institutional woes and the church woes and your sister woes, and those things are heavy. And so it sounds like what that brother is doing a transference with is simply saying, I need to be validated. So go someplace, and it may not be therapy. It could be your priest, your pastor, your mama. Go somewhere and get validated and know your worth. Your worth is not systemically tied to anyone else saying anything to.
Hi, thank you for listening to the podcast thus far. And I want to talk to you about one way that you can help support Male Media Mind through our affiliate program with Amazon. So during Pride Month, the month of June, we're reading the book, The Velvet Rage. And it talks a lot about shame and gay culture. And I thought the juxtaposition of pride and shame would be perfect for our conversations about mental health and wellness. All during the month of June, we'll be talking about The Velvet Rage. And I'm sure going forward, even after June, this book is going to become a regular part of our conversations about the gay community and what it means to grow up and become a gay man. Living in shame isn't something that we often talk about, but it manifests its way through our behaviors and a lot of our issues as we grow up. So I hope that you enjoy the book. I certainly did. And there will be a link in the description of this podcast where you can click the link. You can purchase it from Amazon and we'll get a commission. All right, now back to our podcast.
Don't know that's what he's saying. I don't think he's saying I need to be validated. I think he's saying, can we stop being so rude?
That is a form of validation. I feel like you have harmed me because can we stop being so rude to him? Or can we stop being rude to people that we deem not rude to them? That is purely subjective.
Being rude is subjective?
Being rude is purely how I show up in the world, maybe, and I get this all the time, brother. So I'm really speaking from a personal perspective. I am like, I'm very straightforward, and it really is though. Yeah. So I was going to say, just it is subjective in the sense that, you could say that just like you were saying, living in New York versus living in versus like living in Atlanta, right? Like New Yorker, basically any true blood Southerner who goes to New York, the first New Yorker they meet, they will feel like these motherfuckers are rude. They do not stand out of the face for you when you are walking. They do not open doors for you. They are moving so fucking fast because it's just a different culture. You can be in an elevator with somebody this fucking. I still have my apartment in Harlem, and I have lived in that building for 7 years, and I have not spoken to one of my neighbors in seven years.
And that's normal.
Back to the South, so I can be a nicer person, but it is just who they are. Like, and I can't like, oh my God, they didn't speak to me today. You know, over emotional Ernie. You know.
But no, first of all, and I want to say this about validation. There's nothing wrong with seeking validation from people, especially when it's authentic, because what he's saying is his authentic experience. I think, in fact, we all seek to be validated. That's actually one of the things we were talking about.
But we have to be careful what we get it.
I know.
And all I'm saying is we seek to get validated from needs to
but
be.
He is talking about his experience, and the validation he's asking for is from other people who have had the same experience that he has had. And I think that's reasonable to say, like, look, I'm looking for some validation that I'm not the only one who's been through this.
That is a tall order, and good luck. He's going to be.
No, it's not, because I've been through that. I've been through that. And he got the validation from that thing. Now, that isn't.
But hold on. You've been through that, and you learned the lesson of that.
I haven't finished. What I'm saying is, when you get validated from other people, you learn from their experience as well. And the truth of that experience is true. What we're saying about, like, you ultimately have to take responsibility for the feelings that you have from other people. But you find validation in other people who have had that same experience.
You do, but those that you don't, you move on from them.
I know. I'm just saying, like, he's just seeking.
All I'm saying.
I don't even think he had a problem with moving on from someone saying they're not interested. I think he's talking about the innate rudeness, not the thing you're saying is subjective. Like, if you see someone walking towards you, and in the setting, he's probably talking about a club or bar that's gay. You see someone walking towards you, you know they're about to talk to you, and you go darting the other way.
That's a good point. And I'm saying, like, even if they are being rude, we have to get to a point where it's okay for them to be that. And instead of it being something toward me, it says a lot more about who they are. And I would say, even on top of that, when I put into this in this chat, which is, if we see our friends being shitty to others, that's where it begins with. Like, you cannot control, you know, like, this is what we were saying, like, you cannot control the actions of other people. People have to make bad decisions. I'm stipulating the fact that what he saw is the truth, whether it's not or not. We know that it's his subjective experience, but I don't want to, like, discount what he saw. Let's just say what he saw was true for him. And so in this situation, he's dealing with rude people. I'm just going to stipulate they're rude because I don't know otherwise. We know that they may not be. What does that mean?
Taking in what has happened on Face 5. So it is what it is. They're rude, they're nasty, they're whatever. So what I have several stripes against me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? I'm it's just the way I was brought up. I just don't take things. Now, inherently, we are our brother's keepers, but I am my brother's keeper for those who are in my family circle. Now, Malcolm would tell you that I have done things wholly and solely outside of my family circle, because I am my brother's keeper. But what I have learned in my 48 plus years is that I cannot, will not, and refuse to take on somebody else's behavior because I may deem it. I got bad treatment today. So, but I don't know what this white woman was going through. And I refuse to raise my blood pressure because what appeared as racism. You know what I mean? Like, it appeared as racism.
I saw someone say that this summer is Karen season. They're coming out. The Karens are coming.
The Karens are coming. They're coming. They're coming. You know what I'm saying? I stop putting things in a box that I think they should be in, and I take them at face value. There are tons of people, and I will never know why they don't fuck with Greg. And at a certain, it really bothered me because I was like, yo, I'm a cool guy. I don't know why the fuck people.
When someone does hurt your feelings, right? I've come to the point where I do not necessarily, how do I say, categorize it as a bad thing, because sometimes the shittiest people in your life, strengthen your resolve to be a better person, to be a more compassionate person. Like when you realize like they're literally the negative role model for you, like you see someone acting like a piece of shit or POC or POS being a piece of shit, and I'm like, I don't want to be that, and
I want to be better.
Yeah, and strengthening my own resolve, like recognizing that even though I'm a sensitive person, I was much more sensitive 10 years ago, 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying? That over time you are hardened, strengthened by the shitty people you run into, and it makes you more resilient when you have had to deal with some, less than kind people. And it is just a fact of life that, even the kindest people might have a bad day, and you run into them when they're having a bad day, and they treat you like shit. They might be a shitty person. Where I don't know if they're really a shitty person or if they're just having a bad day. But honestly, I'll just say it's none of my business. All I know is that what is my business is how I respond to it, and usually my response to it is to move on. Unless you're a friend of mine, now that's another thing. Like I was saying earlier,
correct. That is totally
friends treating someone else like shit. I think it is, if you want to maintain that connection with someone, to have a conversation with them about their shitty treatment of other people. So, like, let's say Ryan in the video approached someone in a bar, and that person did the thing where he walked off, and Ryan got his feelings hurt. I think it would be incumbent of his friend who saw that behavior to say, like, dude, why'd you do that? Like, he's just trying to talk to you. Because I don't think Ryan has any influence over that person. It's some stranger. But there is someone who has a connection to him who may have saw his shitty avoiding behavior and could have, at least tried to influence him. Because I'm just saying, I don't know. What do you think about that?
Well, this is the part where community comes in, because I get Greg's perspective. I get your perspective. It is your responsibility to answer how it's your responsibility of how you take care of the response people give to you. And I understand what Greg said. You can't expect people to treat you the way that you think you should be treated. All of that makes sense. But I feel like and I learned this, by the way, I don't know if I said this. So I'm not American, by the way. So let me tell you my non-American perspective.
Okay.
I noticed that one thing about American people, there's a lot of individualism that happens in this society, where it's not like that in the Jamaican culture. We come together. So if Shelly and over there saw, I talk to somebody, man, we box her down until I don't talk to that demand. Like, that's our thing.
Yeah. But okay.
So I feel like I came into this space of the gay lifestyle, quote unquote. I came into this, with that same almost kumbaya mentality. Very quickly did I realize, don't nobody give a fuck about you.
Yeah.
My thing. The reason we aren't further in society is because we don't give a fuck about each other.
Yeah. I think there's some.
I would like to create a general frame rule around dating etiquette. or talking to etiquette, or approaching someone in public etiquette. Because like I don't like someone doesn't have to be your type. Like perfect example, if we want to use my own life, I just went to a speed dating thing on Saturday and both of them turned me down.
Oh, you went to that thing over in Ainsley?
Yeah.
Over at Midtown Moon?
Yeah, I was there. And both of the guys that I approached turned me down. I don't have a problem with that. Actually, the more blunt, the better for me. Because, listen, I ain't got to waste my fucking time. And one thing I don't like to do is waste my fucking time on nickels. So, I'm with all that. But I do feel like they did say it in a, they didn't pretend like I wasn't talking to them or dart away when I was coming towards them. That's some extra rude ass shit. And like, I would like for that to be rule number one. Like,
yeah, I think social norms are good. No, I agree. Like, and I think the way that we enforce social norms is, like we said, within our circle of influence. Like, there's just,
we can start there. We can start with our circle of influence, and then hopefully
it'll radiate. Yeah. Like we have to like set the standard for our friends. Like, you know, if we see a friend, like for instance, I remember I was going. Now this is an example of like incredible rudeness. I was going to what was it, like a Kroger? I was in Macon, just going to school there, and there was a homeless guy asking for money. You know, it was like this is homeless guy asking for money, and my friend asked him to dance for him for the money. You know.
Oh God.
And that was some shit. Yeah, that was some shit that I was like, you know, I cannot be your friend if you would do some shit like that to someone. You know, like I had to question my friendship.
It's slightly entertaining. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. I mean, it was a joke.
We were in high school. So like high school kids kind of.
I got a friend of mine as an adult in DC. He used to make the homeless men pull out the tallywackers.
Oh my God.
He was like, "Show it that I gave $10." That's nasty.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode of the M3 Bearcast, make sure to check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/malemediamind. There you'll find an episode with Greg on M3 Live, where we also invited Kirkland to further expand on the same topics. And if you become a Patreon member, you'll actually get an extended version of that conversation, beginning at the lowest level of membership. Again, thank you for listening to the M3 Bearcast, and we'll catch you in the next episode.